My goodness, what a performance that was. My top takeaways from the Bills' rout of the Jacksonville Jaguars are coming your way today on Locked On Bills.
You are Locked On Bills, your daily Buffalo Bills podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Bills Mafia? It's Joe Marino, author of Go Bills and Buffalo's Run, also the co-host of the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast, and I'm your host of Locked On Bills. Want to thank you for making Locked On Bills your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, I appreciate y'all being here very, very much. I'd also like to invite you to subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. Happy Victory Tuesday to you. The Buffalo Bills defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars 47-10 and improved to 3-0 on the season. Boy, was that a fun football game to watch if you are a Bills fan. I mean, what more can you possibly ask for out of a football team? 5 touchdowns in a row to start the game offensively. 6 total touchdowns scored by 6 different players. Splash plays all over the place on defense. It was one heck of a night. The 3-0 Buffalo Bills are humming. The last 10 quarters, they have outscored their opponent 102-31. I'll tell you what, the vision for this operation and how that has manifested itself so quickly is very encouraging. A lot of people wrote this Bills team off. They couldn't understand the roster turnover. And while there's a lot of season left, it could not be off to a better start. This Bills team is a very mature operation. I keep coming back to that phrase, mature. And it goes back to what this team became after the Philly loss last year coming out of the bye. I like the way this team is playing. I like their approach. And I like what they're capable of. And looking at this game in particular, we're going to do what we do. We'll talk about things I liked. We got a lot to talk about there. A couple things I didn't like. We'll recap the predictions and talk about what's next. But as we get into things I liked, you got to start with Josh Allen. You've got to start with Josh Allen. If you've listened to me analyze Josh Allen over the years, you know the way he played against Jacksonville on Monday night is exactly the type of quarterback play that I've been dreaming of from him. Consistently doing the smart, right thing with the football, taking profits, avoiding negative plays, not chasing big plays. Just let the game come to him. Sprinkle in the special Josh Allen stuff when needed, and go play ball. And tonight was an amazing example of exactly what I've been preaching. 23 of 30, 263 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, adds 44 rushing yards. He better be the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. And remember, he did all of that in about 40 minutes of game clock. I mean, what if this was a competitive football game? Was Josh Allen going to throw for 500 yards? The Jacksonville Jaguars certainly wasn't going to stop him. I just love how he's executing. I love the decision-making. I love how clean his mechanics are. This is incredibly high-level quarterback play from Josh Allen. And shout out to Joe Brady. Joe Brady anticipated the looks that Jacksonville was going to provide. They're a unique defense. And he had all the right answers. Joe Brady completely in his bag. Josh Allen in this game, the first quarterback in the history of the NFL to complete 75% of his passes, throw for 4 touchdowns, have no turnovers, take no sacks, and lead his team in rushing all in the same game. Special night from a special quarterback. And how about the weapons? Everybody eats, right? Well, Josh Allen completed passes to 10 different players. 10. I think the only offensive skill players that didn't catch a pass, Quentin Morris, the third-string tight end, and the fullback, Reggie Gilliam. Everyone else caught a pass. But Khalil Shakir, 6 catches, 72 yards, touchdown. How good's this guy? 14 catches on 14 targets to start the year. Yards after catch, unbelievable. I mean, what's better than watching Khalil Shakir operate with the ball in his hands? He's creative, he's physical, he's competitive, and he just gets yards. What a player. Dalton Kincaid. You got to see him win down the field. 3 catches, 41 yards, and a touchdown. Love the kind of corner route towards the sideline, a big play down the field, and then an extended play. Josh Allen finds him streaking across the back line of the end zone as he rolls to his right. Keon Coleman, touchdown reception, the first of his career. James Cook, 15 touches, 87 yards, and a touchdown. Ty Johnson, 6 touches, 46 yards, and a touchdown. Ray Davis, his first career rushing touchdown scored in this game. Mack Hollins with a 16-yard catch. Curtis Samuel, 22 yards after 18 in his first 2 games. Everybody eats. Impressive stuff. Getting so many different players involved, and it puts a lot of stress on a defense. What do defenses try to do? They say, let me figure out what the best thing is that you do and take that away from you and try to make you play the game left-handed. Well, pick whatever you want. Pick whatever you want against the Bills. They have too many different ways that they can attack you. It's not based on one guy. Outside of Josh Allen. Of course, it's based around Josh Allen, but it's not about any one single player around him. It's about the totality of all of it. And it's a beautiful thing so far. How about this offensive line? How good were they? Josh Allen not sacked for the second game in a row. I think Jacksonville was credited with 1 quarterback hit. Kept the quarterback clean, over 4 yards per carry running the football. And Deion Dawkins and Spencer Brown just continue to play at an elite level. This was a big test for them. I talked about it, right? Shut down Arizona and Miami, but neither of those teams have edge rushers like Joshua Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker. It's a great pair of edge rushers. Did you know they were playing? Dawkins and Brown shut them down. How about this courtesy of Next Gen Stats on Spencer Brown? Bills right tackle Spencer Brown did not allow a single pressure on 35 pass blocking snaps. His 3rd straight game without allowing a pressure this season. Brown is the only offensive lineman league-wide with at least 25 pass blocking snaps and 0 pressures allowed. Good thing the Bills were patient with him and let him develop into this player. Took a big step last year, and he's taken another step this year. Good thing he's locked up because he's a stud of a football player. And boy, oh boy, is Deion Dawkins as well. Playing high-level football. Deion Dawkins firmly one of the premier offensive linemen in the game. Special pair of tackles this team has with a special quarterback in Josh Allen and an offensive coordinator in Joe Brady that is completely in his bag right now. This is fun to watch. Long season, right? Only played 3 games, but they all count for 1/17. And you have to be encouraged by what you're seeing out of this new look, very multiple, creative Buffalo Bills offense. And oh, by the way, you saw the play action kicking up in this game, right? I'm excited to see where the numbers fall, but Jacksonville, they were trying some different things. They started playing some off man. Then they played up in the face of the receivers. They started loading up the box. Didn't matter. Bills had answers and executed all night long. All right, on the other side of it, folks, we'll talk about the defense and all the splash plays they racked up. Special teams, got some shout-outs. We'll finish with things I didn't like. Of course, my predictions on what's next. Be sure to stick with me. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals that you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't even visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. So hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Let's talk about this defense. Limiting Jacksonville to 10 points, 239 yards. Keeping in mind, 60 of them came in the last drive of the game, a garbage time drive. I mean, basically, your starters on starters held them to under 200 yards and 10 points. What a night. What a night. Complimentary football at its finest. You know, whenever you get a chance to rack up splash plays and get sacks and make plays on the football, it's because the offense positions you to do that. When you get to play with a lead on defense, you can tee off, you can be aggressive, and you can make those big-time plays. It's complimentary football. People didn't understand that when Sean McDermott was trying to talk about it last year. Some kind of twisted view. It was unbelievable to me trying to navigate that last year. Very obvious what complimentary football means, and it's what you watch against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Units feeding off of each other, allowing them to operate and play the style that they want to. Get leads on offense, tee off on defense, be sound on special teams. 10 points for Jacksonville. Splash plays all over the place. You got to start with Damar Hamlin. Getting an interception in this game, overthrown pass by Trevor Lawrence. Damar Hamlin with vertical leverage in the right place, picks off the ball. And it's Damar's first career interception. And how cool is it for it to happen on Monday night? Damar's first Monday night game since Cincinnati. We know what happened there. Special moment. Just a very special moment. And, I mean, Damar's played well this season. Starting safety for this team. Mike Edwards inactive for this game. Beating out Cole Bishop. The starter next to Taylor Rapp. Playing well. Gets his first career interception. Super cool moment. We got to shout out the sacks. Jamarcus Ingram with the sack. That was a fun play. That was a good pressure look. That was more of a neutral game script. Great call by Bobby Babich, sending him and Cam Lewis. Trevor Lawrence was dead to rights. So Jamarcus Ingram, 2 picks last week, has a sack and a pass breakup this week. Talk about taking advantage of an opportunity. A.J. Epenesa with the sack. He had 2 last year against Jacksonville. Gets another one this year. Clean win against Cam Robinson. And Trevor Lawrence has got a lot of depth in that drop. And the reason he had to stay at that depth is because there was good interior pressure. And that's, I've been talking about this for years. Like, if you're going to get sacks, it's not about you beating your guy. You have to have other places that the pocket collapses so that you keep that quarterback on his spot and you sack him. A.J. Epenesa able to do that. Casey Toohill with the sack, an effort sack. You know, he originally goes beyond the peak of the pocket. He's behind the quarterback. You stick with it. You work back underneath. You get to the football. Casey Toohill should have had a scoop and score, right? Great effort play by him. Von Miller with another sack, 4th quarter sack. Love to see it. 3 sacks, 3 games for Mr. Von Miller. feeling good about the idea of him being the closer that he was signed to be for this football team. And then Javon Solomon, welcome to the party, young man. First career game after missing the first couple with an injury, comes out and has a strip sack. Good inside move against Cam Robinson, forces the ball out. And just stuff like that, it's got to be so good for the confidence of a young player like that. I'm sure it had to be frustrating not getting a chance to play the first 2 weeks of the season. Eager to get out there, eager to make an impact, and you get to do it. Huge. 5 sacks for the Bills defense. Pass breakups. Cam Lewis with a pass breakup. Tight coverage all night. Damar Hamlin with a pass breakup in addition to the interception. Jamarcus Ingram with the pass breakup in the end zone, playing through the hands of the receiver. Great play. Christian Benford and Rasul Douglas both with pass breakups. How good are those guys? How good are those guys? And it's not just the plays in the ball, just those guys play with such physicality. It's special to watch, especially Benford. How good is that guy? Everything is physical. Tackles hard. Raking at the ball all the time. Where he's supposed to be in coverage. He is just playing at such a high level. What a find. What a find Christian Benford has been for this football team. Absolutely coming into his own. Kyrie Elam with the pass breakup. Should have had a pick 6 there late in the game. Even Brandon Codrington coming in, playing a little defense, getting the pass breakup. Fun to watch. Fun to watch those guys be aggressive and attack and hunt the football. Talked about the corners, Rasul Douglas, Benford. Those guys are awesome. How about these linebackers? How about Dorian Williams and Bale Inspector? I thought both played at extremely high levels, really good downhill stuff, but the coverage was as good as I've seen from them, especially Dorian Williams. He was tested a few times and he was right where he was supposed to be. Very encouraged. Obviously, the game is slowing down for him. Love what I saw from those 2 young players. And you know what's interesting? Josh Allen, of course, late in the game, doesn't have to finish it out. Mitch Trubisky comes in, and you're watching this game on TV, and they show him on the sideline, and next to him in street clothes is Matt Milano, Terrell Bernard, and Taron Johnson. And you're like, man, I forgot about those guys. They're really good, and they're not even playing. They're not even playing. 3 of your most critical players for your defense not even playing. Love how this depth is stepping up. And stacking performance. It's not like one-off stuff, right? It's not like, they made a play. No, they're like consistently executing, playing high volumes of snaps, and getting the job done. It's very impressive. Impressive stuff from Sean McDermott and Bobby Babich. How about special teams? They did some good things in this game. Brandon Codrington, I continue to be very comfortable with him as the punt returner. Had 2 punt returns in this game. 1 for 22 yards, 1 for 19 yards. And I loved the play where he fielded the ball off the hop. I mean, everyone talks about those being hidden yards. I don't know what's so hidden about them. It's right there. If he just lets that ball go and roll, it's going to be a lot of yards the other way. Instead, he picks it up and returns it for 20 yards. Those are big moments. Those yards matter. Those yards matter a ton. Sam Martin, 1 punt in this game, 49 yards, all net. Great punt, forcing a fair catch inside the 20. And look, Tyler Bass, I know he had the first extra point blocked. I'm looking forward to kind of studying the tape and seeing what happened there. You know, what operationally failed? Did he not get the ball up? Was maybe the snap to the hold was slow? We'll figure it out. But other than that, I mean, he goes 2 for 2 on field goals, makes 5 extra points, and I thought he struck the ball well. I thought the flight path of the ball was as pure as I've seen in a while from Tyler Bass, and that's a lot of opportunity to kick in a game. And I like that he got a chance to, was it 42, 43 yards? That was a good pure kick. It's good to see that. A couple other shout-outs real quick. Sean McDermott, aggressive decisions, going for it on those first 2 drives on 4th down. The first one, 4th and 3 from the 44. And you could tell they had a play call. There was the kind of a little flat route to Khalil Shakir, catch and run for a bunch of yards. And then on the next, and of course, later on they scored a touchdown. The next drive, 4th and 1 from the 11, that results in a touchdown. So Sean McDermott continues to be extremely aggressive. And that just means a lot to the players, that they get that belief in them. They want to go out there and get it. And I think Sean McDermott's pushing the right buttons. I think the tackling for this football team has been really good all season long, and this was a great example of that. We have to shout that out. And then also, it feels like the team got out of this game healthy. I know Cam Lewis was evaluated for a head injury. He was cleared and finished the game. And then Tylan Grable, Bill's swing tackle, he came in late in the game when they benched or, took subbed out their starters as much as they could. He came in and it looks like he had a groin injury and was unable to finish the game. And one note there is Joe Brady has confirmed that Tylan Grable beat out Ryan Vandemark to be the swing tackle. So this is the preferred backup to Dawkins and Brown at tackle. So really cool to see the rookies and the roles that they've been able to carve out for this team. And not really even the high picks. It's depth players as well and contributing, right? 10 rookies on this roster, and you can see how they all kind of fit into the picture. And it's good to see. It's good to see this nucleus being restocked and, even young players with a whole lot of ceiling to develop into. There's a lot of good things happening with this Buffalo Bills football team. All right, on the other side of it, got a couple of things I didn't like. Got to recap my predictions and talk about what's next. Folks, be sure to stick with me. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more. And on the same page where you place your bets, you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com to download America's #1 sportsbook. All right, let's recap my predictions. I did pretty good. On this one. I feel like I had a good feel for how this game was going to go. I wouldn't have predicted 47-10, but I had some confidence in the Bills against Jacksonville. But before I get there, I need to talk about things I didn't like. Look, I'm getting ahead of myself. Things I didn't like. Not a whole lot to get into, but 3 things that I want to point out. Sean McDermott shared with us after the game that Keon Coleman was benched for the first quarter for being late. Some issues with not being on time. And benched him for the first quarter. Sean talked about how, they're putting that behind him. It was a disciplinary move that felt necessary. And he said he was proud of how Keon handled it and obviously scored a touchdown later in the game. And so you're watching this game early on and you're seeing MVS out there. And not that Keon Coleman's had a ton of volume his way in the passing game, but he's been on the field a ton early on this season. And so that was a little bit strange. And we have the answer as to why he was benched for the first quarter. Didn't like that, obviously, for Keon, but as a young player, you got to go through some things. You got to learn some lessons and develop your habits to be a pro. James Cook dropping the ball, touchdown pass. I mean, Josh chucks it up there. Beautiful wheel route. Put it right on him. Dropped it. Obviously, the Bills, was it Khalil Shakir later on makes up for it, but you don't want to see that, right? You don't want to see that. Of course, I didn't like that Tyler Bass had a extra point blocked. So, I mean, this game literally had everything, right? All the offensive stuff we talked about, all the defensive stuff. We also get a James Cook drop touchdown. And we get a Tyler Bass blocked extra point. So literally gave us all the stuff in this one. All right, so now with that out of the way, my predictions recap. My first prediction was that Trevor Lawrence would throw his first interception of the season. We got that one. Damar Hamlin picked him off. Was that in the second quarter? So I knew that he had some good fortune with interceptions to start the year. I figured he was due, and he was. My next prediction was that Curtis Samuel would have at least 3 catches and more than 18 yards. I really wanted to look at his first 2 games and basically say that he's going to do more in this game than he did in his first 2. That's exactly what happened. Had 3 catches and 33 yards, if I'm not mistaken. He had more than 18. I don't know why 33 doesn't seem right to me, but it was more than 18. Josh Allen, I predicted that he would have at least 250 passing yards. Yes, he did that. He had 263. And like I said earlier, what if this was a game where he had to play 4 quarters? What were the numbers going to be? Pretty high. And remember, I talked about this. Like, you might not think 250 passing yards is a ton, but only once in the previous 9 starts for Josh Allen, including the playoffs, did he throw for more than 250 yards. It was week 18 against Miami. So this happened for sure. I didn't get this next one. I said Greg Rousseau would have a sack, and he didn't. He was close on the Jamarcus Ingram sack. He was right there. I thought he was going to get it. But we got 5 sacks. I just picked the wrong guy. I thought about picking Epenesa. I thought about picking Von Miller. And, of course, I picked the one guy that didn't get a sack, it seems like. So I didn't get that one, but I did predict that the Bills would win the game, and that happened. So we go 4 for 5 on predictions this week. Next up for the Buffalo Bills, a road date. Sunday Night Football against the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore coming off of a big win over Dallas after they started 0-2. And so I'm pretty happy, actually, that the Baltimore Ravens were able to get that win. You know, you don't want an 0-3 Ravens team coming in and having to deal with that type of, urgency that they would have. So they're looking to get to 2-2. The Bills, of course, looking to get to 4-0. And that's the start of a 3-game road trip. So at Baltimore, at Houston, at the Jets, the next 3. So the Bills enter that stretch 3-0, which is a good spot to be. Next up for this podcast, of course, we got a little bit of a short week here. The Bills playing on Monday night. So this is the recap episode. Next will be the All-22 review. So on Tuesday, I'll spend all day watching the film, and later in the day, I will deliver my All-22 review. It may be Wednesday morning, but I'll do my best to get it done Tuesday night for you. So you have that to look forward to. And then, of course, we'll start getting ready for Baltimore. Crossover Thursday, the primer, all of the stuff that we do in an important AFC matchup. Also coming up for me content-wise in my Substack, the Herd Mentality Substack. If you're not part of it, there's a link to check that out in the show notes. My post-game column where I recap some of my big picture thoughts from the game. Of course, Josh Allen Weekly, my weekly scouting article and metrics article on Josh Allen. That'll be out midweek. And then towards the end of the week, my scouting matchup preview, Bills versus Ravens. And then, of course, if you're part of our subtext community, and if you're not, there's a link to join in today's show notes. You'll get the All-22 film clips Tuesday night. I send a video file of me breaking down, usually 30, 40 plays, talking about strategy and different technique and things that stand out to me. So that'll be coming your way if you're part of the subtext community, which you can be if you join, and the link in today's show notes. One of the things that I'm really excited about with this podcast has been the community that we're building around it. Of course, nothing changes. This is going to be a podcast that's daily for you all year long, always doing what I'm doing. But if you want more, I got it for you. We got a ton of community and a ton of extra content around Locked On Bills through the subtext, through the Substack, through the Discord, which you get into our Discord with either a Substack or a subtext subscription. So check out everything that we're offering and don't miss out. We're having a lot of fun all the time. So don't miss any of that. And don't let this Victory Tuesday pass you by without spending it smiling ear to ear over the 3-0 Buffalo Bills. And not just that they're 3-0, it's how they're playing, it's what they're capable of, and it's just this overall maturity that this team has, especially in this NFL, and how these teams are looking and how these offenses are looking. The Bills certainly feel like they're in a very, very good place. So there you have it, folks. The Game Reaction Pod. Plenty of content coming this week. Don't miss anything. Make sure that you're subscribed. Would love it if you took a second to rate, review, and share the podcast. Have a great rest of your day. Go Bills. And I look forward to catching up with you again real soon.